The first Faderhead album came out in 2006, and by the end of 2026, I will have released 12 full albums. So I decided that for every month of 2026, I'll explain the concepts and the lyrics behind one of the 12 albums. Today, my fourth album, Black Friday, which came out in 2010 and is a concept album that tells the story of a young woman and about a Friday night that goes wrong in any way possible. One of the things I always try to do with Faderhead is to deliver more than just a song or an album, because I always wanted to try and add some extra dimensions to the music. And so for Black Friday, there was always the plan to shoot a short movie that shows the album story in visual form. It's interesting, from today's point of view, the movie comes across like a teenage soap opera or something, but at the same time, the production quality was very high, especially considering that we had a tiny budget of maybe 2,000 euros. And none of us were professional filmmakers or even in the film business.
Okay, los.
I don't remember how many days of production we had, but most of the work was done by my friend Oliver Kühl.
Sagen wir, das ist unfilmbar.
And me. Brad Vanderberg helped write the script, and Marco Ribbe, who also shot the Girly Show, Dirty Girls, Tanz vor 3-4 music videos, he did most of the filming. If I remember correctly, he slept on my couch during that time to save money.
Der Kaiserstuhl ist bei Gott hart, ja, ist schon klar.
For the song-by-song walkthrough, I will start every song with a description of the storyline, and then I will talk about the background. So let's get it going. Song number 1, Obnoxiated. Mia, who is the main character, is at work waiting for the week to end and is really annoyed by her boring office job. This is somewhat of an intro song, and it's a very monotonous, repetitive beat and vocals that keep saying, digging daily with a 6-foot shovel, digging daily till you're 6 feet underground. And these lyrics are, of course, a description of Mia wasting her life away in her pointless job, according to her. And here I'm using the metaphor of a huge shovel to dig your own grave every day, and I decided to use the sound of an actual shovel digging into gravel, rocks, instead of using a snare drum. And I'm also using a very low kick drum without a lot of attack, because it reminded me of those drums that were used to give rhythm to the slaves that were rowing on ships in the 1500s, something like that. The song builds with a more and more noisy synth layer added over time, and then it drops and only the low kick drum remains. I did that to signify the noise in someone's head that says, I have to get out of this dead-end job that kills me. But in the end, they just show back up and work to the beat of the boss's drum. Number 2, Escape from the Machine. In the story, it's finally Friday evening. Mia can go home and leave the day job behind. And songs like this one didn't exist a lot in the dark electro scene back then, because most bands were either heavy and had only screaming or distorted vocals, or they were melodic and had only melodic vocals. On Escape from the Machine, I'm starting with medium intensity spoken vocals, then go to screaming, and then to a very melodic chorus. And I'm not saying there were no other scene bands that did that, but there weren't many. And of course, to symbolize the story of the song, I had to do these different types of vocals. First, the spoken vocals symbolize the repetitive, normal grind. The rising intensity and the screaming vocals symbolize the fuck this job kind of anger. And then the melodic chorus symbolizes the release from the painful part of the week, or the escape. Back then, Steve Nagavi from And One still lived in Hamburg, and we were friends. And I asked him if he wanted to do guest vocals on this. He initially said yes, but then the key of the song didn't fit with his voice, which can be a real issue if you want to sing well. And unfortunately, at that point, the album had to get done really quickly, so the collab didn't happen. Steve still played a guest role as the champagne drinking DJ in the club in the Black Friday movie, which I'm still thankful for. Number 3, hot bath and a cold razor. Mia comes home looking forward to spending time with her boyfriend, but he ditches her for a night with the boys. So she's frustrated and sits in the bathtub.
No word, no sign. Once again all alone. I walk the same side. I walk the same side. I stay.
While Hot Bath and a Cold Razor is a song that describes a situation in the story, it really is about relationships with uneven emotional involvement or where one partner needs the other more. In this case, it's Mia saying, why am I giving you all this and why am I getting so little back?
I kept giving it all. You never knew what you got. I walk the same side. I walk the same side with you.
And by the way, there is no suicide intention in the song. I just like the juxtaposition of hot and cold. Plus, the hot bath was meant to be the emotional turmoil, and the cold razor, the leave me alone, I'm going out with my buddies reaction of the boyfriend.
Hot bath and a cold razor. Cold razor. Hot bath
And yes, of course, I knew that the goth scene would like the title, so I absolutely accepted the fact that people would interpret this as a song with suicide undertones, even though there were really none, and it's very difficult to infer any suicide ideas from the lyrics or the video scenes. Number 4, The Moth and the Fire. This is another ballad, and it is pretty unusual for me to put 2 ballads this early on into an album, but it made sense for the storyline, so I did it. Mia sits at home, questions her relationship, remembers the past, and hopes for her boyfriend to contact her. So I don't think a clubby track or like angry track would fit with that.
I'm still swirling like a moth, drawn to fire. I'm still.
Lyrically, the song is pretty self-explanatory. It's the question of why am I still in love with you even though you treat me badly, which is probably something everyone has experienced in their life at least once. Baby Firefly. On this track, we are getting a bit clubbier again. A sleazy drug dealer friend drops by at Mia's apartment and brings vodka and cocaine. And this is a classic lyric about wanting to forget the worries of the present and feel happier. I've been asked many times if this song has anything to do with the TV show Serenity, but it has not. It has also not been inspired by Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, which has a character called Baby Firefly, but I actually didn't know that that movie even existed until I started Googling Baby Firefly for this video, because I couldn't, remember the name of the TV show Serenity. So I found it out basically today. And I don't think the song is particularly strong, but for some reason, many people like it a lot. Number 6, Destroy, Improve, Rebuild. This is my favorite song on the whole album, and also one of the most popular songs that we play live. And it has been one of the most popular songs for 15 years or more. Story-wise, Mia and Sleazy Guy do booze and drugs, and Mia gets ready to go out. Music-wise, this is a heavy EBM track about changing your current situation for the better by burning everything to the ground, because then you can't go back. I think aside from liking the music, a lot of people like the idea of moving on from something, which is what makes the song title so popular.
And I'm not an old school conservationist. I wrote a bunch of hits, got the elites pissed.
Lyrically, I didn't just want to keep the song inside of the Black Friday story, but I also wanted to make fun of the super true old school elite EBM people who didn't like me because I wasn't old school enough and made too many pop songs for, their opinion. But yeah, fuck those guys. And of course, old Meshuggah fans will instantly recognize that I stole the idea for the title from their Destroy, Erase, Improve album. And in the true spirit of their album title, I improved it for my own purposes. Well, I am pretty sure that's what Meshuggah wanted. Number 7, Aim to Misbehave. Story-wise, this is where Mia and Sleazy Guy pick up a friend and drive to a club to party. And music-wise, this is a mid-tempo booty shaker song about partying, because I'm subtle like that. And, Black Friday is a concept album after all. Someone, I think, actually even called it a goth musical when it came out. Not sure if it's that, actually. Unlike the title Baby Firefly, which had nothing to do with the TV show Serenity, this title actually came straight from a scene from Serenity.
So no more running. I aim to misbehave.
And interestingly, I never saw the scene until I did some research for this video now. Because I think back then it was Shaolyn who mentioned the line. And because I always, write down cool sounding titles in line when they appear, I wrote this one down. And it fit perfectly for this point of the Black Friday storyline. Number 8, Pussy Rules featuring Shaolyn. This is the part of the story where the protagonists arrive at the club and Sleazy Guy is beginning to persistently hit on Mia, who, while she wants to get her mind off of her boyfriend, she isn't planning on cheating on him with Sleazy Guy. We never had a name for the guy, so I'm calling him Sleazy Guy now. So when I wrote the song, I decided that the lyrics need to be written from the point of view of a guy with cocaine confidence who is at a club looking to meet girls, but then, he strikes out. Musically, this track was very inspired by Vitalik's Flash Mob album, specifically the song One Above One, and I think also by the Bloody Beetroots' Warp 1.9, which I think they did with Steve Aoki. Like many of the younger, newer producers in the goth electro scene back then, I was very influenced by more mainstream EDM at that point. Because when you are young and new, you kind of have to differentiate yourself from the already established artists in your scene. Otherwise, you will just sound like VNV Nation 2.0 or Covenant 2.0 or N1 2.0, which is not very fulfilling from an artistic point of view, at least in my opinion. Of course, in a song that has a lyrical punchline that comes from a woman's point of view, I needed a female vocal, and so I just asked Shaolyn to do the vocals. And she had previously released her first song, I think, Face Down, which was getting very popular in goth electro clubs. And, we thought a feature would make sense for the song itself, Pussy Rules, and as a promo collab for Shaolyn. And I think it worked out really well. Number 9, The Way to Fuck God. Story-wise, this is another We Are at the Club Dancing song. And I obviously wasn't going to make an album without stompy club tracks because That's what I liked and was known for. So of course I had to work that into the story somehow. Other than Destroy, Improve, Rebuild, this is probably the most famous song from Black Friday. At least it got the most club play, and we shot a music video for it, which we didn't for Destroy, Improve, Rebuild. A lot of people really misunderstood the title of the song because they did not read the lyrics or they did not listen to the song at all. So a lot of people think this is an anti-religious song, which is probably the wrongest, I don't know, is that even a word? The most wrong interpretation you could get to in any way. The female vocal sample translates to, if you have never fucked God on a dance floor, then you've never truly danced, which is clearly not meant as an anti-God statement. It's a statement about reaching a higher plane of existence through dancing. Nothing more and nothing less. This is the way to fuck God. It's time to wake up, come on. The vocal sample isn't really a vocal sample. Just like in Coke from My Ass, this is not taken from any movie, but it was spoken specifically by Madeleine Gillian for this song. We actually recorded an English version too, but I decided that the German version sounded better. And back then, she and her then husband, Michael Gillian, they were coming to my place and just hanging out. And then we got the idea to do this, and I asked her to do it, and it went really well. Number 10, Beautiful Freak. More dancing. And a super simple track with super simple lyrics. Shake it, move it, drop it, shake. From today's point of view, this song is an incredibly wasted opportunity. It starts out really well and then it just drags on until the chorus hits. And when the chorus hits, it's probably the biggest disappointment of the whole record. At least, from my point of view today. You're such a beautiful freak. Shake it. People always call me arrogant or a hater when they ask me how I like one of their songs, because very often I say things like, oh, it starts out really cool, but then the chorus does not deliver. Or, I don't know, you don't get to the point fast enough. I would have skipped the song already, stuff like that. And I say this because, like in Beautiful Freak, I have made the same mistake many times before. And I know it ends with a track that gets forgotten really quickly. So, get to the point and write the best possible chorus parts, always. Don't just, tack a random chorus onto a riff like I have done here. Big mistake. Number 11, The Bitch I Love to Hate featuring Chris Pohl. In the Black Friday story, this is when Mia's boyfriend shows up with a different girl at the same club, despite him having said that he was hanging out with the boys, The song itself is a goth electro, stomper with a somewhat melodic chorus, and it features Chris Pohl of Blutengel as guest vocalist. In 2009, when we played Mira Luna for the first time, Chris came up to me and said that he really liked what I was doing. And so a year later, I asked him if he wanted to do vocals on this track, which he did. And from today's perspective, I cannot stress enough how cool this was of Chris. The goth scene was and still is terrible at doing collabs. It's become better in recent years, but compared to every other music scene, it's still not happening very often. So for someone like him, who was already very established at the time, to just say yes to a newcomer artist like me was very cool, especially in a time where collabs were really rare in the scene. So I am very grateful to him for that. Production-wise, I wanted to achieve two things. First, I wanted to convey that Mia, the main character in the story, is not only drunk and high, but she's also super confused, hurt, and angry. So she's switching between different emotional states. And number two, to achieve this, I wanted to have Chris and my vocals blend together so that it's not always clear who is singing at what time. I also switched his and my singing within lines of the song to symbolize the switching between different emotional states. So what I did was I asked Chris to sing the whole song, and I recorded everything, and then I sang the whole song and recorded everything. And then later, I edited the vocals word by word and switched between his vocals and my vocals. I also used different effects on all the vocals, which changed throughout the course of the song because I wanted to get this, how can I say this? This blurry state of being drunk and high. I wanted to get that into the vocals somehow. And if you listen closely, probably best with headphones, you can hear all of this if you pay attention. Song 12, Do You Know Who I Think I Am? Featuring Ted Phelps. In the story, Mia and Sleazy Guy do more drugs until everyone's hammered. And this song features Ted Phelps of Imperative Reaction. And I'm sorry to say that I do not remember how this collab came together. As these years were the start of me drinking very heavily when I was going out. So I can't remember how, like, where we talked about this or where we met and figured this out.
Start, stop, cold and hot, off to the chopping block.
I am quite happy though with the lyrics on this song, which perfectly describe why someone might decide to drink and do drugs and how they might end up feeling after a while. I think lines like old new split in two, I and the angel view describe well how you debate in your head with your better self and then decide to do something that you know you'll probably regret tomorrow. And the line, so complicated when your arms and your legs are the same, is probably something anyone who was ever very drunk can relate to. Not that you should. 13, Scumfucker. Mia makes out with Sleazy Guy in the club. This is a faster instrumental techno song, which I thought was appropriate for the situation and the story. And this is one of my least favorite songs on the album because from this point of view, it sounds very dated and confused. Then again, confused is definitely the state of mind Mia is in, so maybe that fits. I'd still do it differently today, and this one is a skip for me. Number 14, Corpus Crisis. Mia confronts her boyfriend in the club because she's pissed that he lied to her. This is a mid-tempo head nodder with a screamy chorus and a lot of synth sounds that sound like dentist drills or screams. It sounds very 2010, but overall I like it much more than, for example, Scumfucker. I can't really say much more about this because I have no memory of even writing the song. I don't remember. "15, Crashkid. Mia gets into a screaming match with her boyfriend and the girl that he brought to the club, and she freaks out and later collapses in the club bathroom. This is a faster techno song. Well, at least by 2010 standards, it was faster. Today, it's probably mid-tempo at 140 BPM. And I wanted to have this pounding energy at the end of the album, which rises throughout the song and then ends with a noise drone. The song starts with a female vocal, and I couldn't find anything about who might have recorded that, so I assume it was a computer voice, which was very common for, use of single words back then, just like with Scumfucker and Beautiful Freak.
Crash, burn, and die.
Just like with Scumfucker and Beautiful Freak, I understand what I was trying to do with the song in terms of story function. But from today's point of view, the songwriting and the production is
Crash, burn, and die.
By the way, lyrically with Crash, Burn, and Die, I am not saying that Mia is dying in the club. I'm saying that the relationship, which was already on shaky grounds, has now crashed and died. A lot of people have asked me about this because in the movie we just fade to black without giving a clear ending. "16, Regaining Unconsciousness, the outro of the album. I'm using this very serene sounding instrumental to describe the feeling of returning to a more peaceful state. The title is actually the opposite of what you would expect. In the previous song, Mia collapsed in the bathroom, so you would expect her to regain consciousness at some point. However, I decided that in her case, where she was always looking for approval and love from her boyfriend, that in that case, having no relationship anymore would be like unconsciousness. And that would be better simply because she doesn't have to think and stress about that guy anymore. That's why I made the outro so peaceful sounding. It actually reminds me of some theme music to a hospital TV show or something, but I don't know if I did that on purpose or if it's just me using Spectrasonic's Omnisphere, which has a lot of sounds that sound like that. When going through this album, my first thought was, man, this is about 5 to 6 songs too long. Black Friday would have probably been a really good album at the time if there weren't so many filler songs for story reasons. And those story reasons really don't matter much because the story could have still happened and been, compressed into fewer songs. But as I said before, none of us were scriptwriters or filmmakers, and I had never made a concept album before, so I just did what I did. Today, I would cut this by at least 30%, probably more. Eileen, the actress who played Mia, has nothing to do with the goth scene. She somehow saw my Actress Wanted ad and sent the most convincing application video. At this point, like 2026, she's been in other Faderhead videos like Stand Up or Too Dead for Life. Because I've always liked to put the same people into music videos, simply because I like the fact that certain faces show up over and over. Plus, these were usually friends of mine, and since I had no money for professional actors, I could convince them to come to the video shoots for beer and for the hanging out part. One of the things that seems to be hard to do these days is to get people excited for projects like this. Simply because most folks would rather scroll on their phone or, watch Netflix than sit in a club for a day of shooting, only to appear in a video for 2 seconds. But you can accomplish a lot of stuff with very, very little money if you ask a lot of people for help to just, do little things. And if you learn the skills to do the things that otherwise would cost you a lot of money. By the way, the best thing about skills is once you learn something, you have the skill forever, and then you could use it again and again. I hope you enjoyed this track-by-track commentary, and if you did, you can also watch the other ones for my other album.